All right. Sorry for the little bit of a delay. We'll go ahead and get started on our Thursday live Q&A call. Thank you all for joining today. So for those of you who have either not joined the previous Monday call, and let's say this is the first call that you are on, just want to make sure that you know what's going to be happening. So this is our advanced Q&A session. We're going to dedicate a whole hour to just answering all your questions. So that we can go ahead and help you as best we can with navigating the Investment Dominator, or just beginning to go ahead and start working on this. If you're hearing my audio well, go ahead and just comment hello in the chat. It looks like somebody's having some difficulties. I want to make sure that that is settled. All right, so just make sure that if you can't hear or for any reason the audio does disconnect, make sure you rejoin the session and just select to go ahead and hear with the computer audio. All right, so let's go ahead and start this. Now, just some ways to go ahead and communicate with me directly during this presentation. We have a couple Q&A options, so you can click on to Q&A, and you can also hit the chat function. If you do hit the Q&A option, just keep in mind that when your question goes from open, I'll usually just mark it as answered, and we'll go ahead and talk it directly live. So anything that you would like me to go ahead and walk through, you can use that. Anything that you would want to, let's say if you're just giving feedback, or if you just want to just reach out, you can just use the chat feature. You don't have to worry about raising your hand, as I will primarily be looking at both the chats while we're doing this live demonstration. And again, for those of you who need to either change your speaker setup or your microphone, you'll just want to go ahead and right when you join Ring Central, make sure that you join with computer audio. All right. So also one thing to mention is that all these calls will be recorded and posted onto the user guide as well too. Excuse me. So we'll go ahead and start with the LPG deal flow. And I really like to talk about this because it's very transparent when we're talking about how the investment dominator kind of works and what's the process behind it. So we'll see here, we have the LPG deal flow. And there's a couple of tasks here that we'll start off with, but everybody's starting point is really the same. So you're going to start with, no records into your system, and you're going to want to go ahead and first begin to select that target market, something that you're beginning to just work on. And then after you selected your market, so for example, the state and the county, you'll be able to then begin importing a list from that county. Now, there's a couple ways to do that, and we talk about some of our more advanced options on this call today. But you'll see next that you'll go ahead and be able to mail your letters, be able to talk to sellers, so that you can go ahead and begin to do your preliminary research. At that point, you will then be able to really hone into the property, be able to mail out your offers, maybe even do some option agreements, so that you can go ahead and begin your open escrow. That's really when you start doing that detailed research, so that you can go ahead and do the next step, being able to go ahead and market the property with or without owner financing. And really the end goal that we all aspire for is being able to then take that property, sell it, and get paid. All right, now, something that you want to keep in mind is really the possibilities of the investment dominator and how you can use the tools that you have to be able to kind of get this process going. So what you're going to see here on the left-hand side is everything that would be coming from you, the student, and that would be, your company information, your county data, offer request, whether that be through by phone or by website. We also have here property details and tasks. Down below, you'll see prospects, leads, and buyers. transaction information, and last but not least, lead tracking information. So all of this is coming from you. It's all the data that you have. And once you combine that with the Investment Dominator, what you're able to do with that is go ahead and generate these letters. We talk about how to go ahead and generate some offers. We'll show a demonstration on this as well, a little bit into this call. We have websites, and keep in mind, we did not have our previous Monday call because of the Memorial Day holiday, but we do talk about our buying and our selling site too. If there's anybody who has questions just about setup for the Investment Dominator and things of that sort, we can go ahead and answer some of them today because we did not have that Monday call. But again, today is our advanced call, so we're going to dedicate the time mostly to that. And actually, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and just launch a poll. And I'll start that polling here. It's going to ask you 2 questions: if you're new to using the Investment Dominator, and as well as which feature you would like to see on this session. All right. Okay, so yeah, we talk about calculators and tools as well, analytics and team management here. So with all these calls and really with the response from ticket support or just all features around the Investment Dominator, we would really appreciate getting some feedback, and we love to get that directly from the students. So at the end of this call, you're going to see a window open up, and it's basically going to ask you for your name, your email address, and it's going to be an Investment Dominator survey. It's going to ask you questions really based on your experience of how you are with land, or if you're new to the Investment Dominator, new to real estate, things of that sort. So go ahead and take some time after this call to go ahead and break that down. All right. So we're just going to jump right into this. And something you want to go ahead and keep in mind is that, as I had mentioned, we didn't have that Monday call. But we did test out a new feature, which you may have noticed for those of you that regularly use the Investment Dominator. The feature was basically to go ahead and alert you with the notification really just about that Memorial Day holiday. And we're going to try to really implement that a lot in the future for the calls that, or actually for really big updates with the Investment Dominator. We want to try to really bring in an awareness. And there is also, if we go ahead here to just show you real quick, we go to the user guide and we go ahead and type in system updates. This is also another way that you can really get connected to understand, what's coming next for the Investment Dominator, as well as things that we're currently working on. So definitely recommend you check that out. You'll just see the list of recent updates here. And up at the top, these bullet points, no particular order, but it will go ahead and just tell you, what kind of updates we're working on. So for example, we have here task calendar updates, as well as task card view, potentially some new buying and selling site theme options, all topics here that we can begin to then start to discuss on today's call especially. So I just wanted to give that a little shout out, but actually before we go ahead and answer some of the questions that we have today, there was some questions on our previous live Q&A call. I believe that was last Thursday. It was one question here that we wanted to just bring up and clarify real quick. So the question here that we have is from Daryl. And Daryl wants to know, so he says, is the add data service option within the user guide article something that we would use to activate the membership for? And he's saying the outside data service. So yes, if we go back to our user guide here, we're going to go ahead and search up we could say outside data service. And I really want to really show how you can use the user guide to go ahead and begin to find any results that you would have questions to. Something that also I would like to just tell you guys is that we've updated the user guide in a way where you'll see here it only generates about 3 articles, per view or per row. But it really does look more clean, and it's a little bit easier to find some of the articles. We're working on keyword options too. So definitely, if you have any questions about that or you want more information, just go ahead and put that in the chat. But again, as we're talking about here, we're talking about the outside data service. Let's see. There should be an article here, how to add it. Oh, here we go. So this article, it's called How to Add a Paid Data Service to Your Investment Dominator System. So basically, this is a breakdown. This entire user guide article here is a breakdown of how somebody would just, try to understand what this integration is and why it's put into the Investment Dominator, but also why it's really helpful and really want to think of it as like ease when you're using the Investment Dominator. So this is something where, you can sign up for a monthly paid service, and you basically get record credits every month, and you'll be able to, select a state, select a county, some of that stuff we were talking about in the early stages of the deal flow process. Particularly if you're looking at the wizards, this is the Find Deals wizard. This is how you would go ahead and just begin to import that data directly into your system. So up at the top in here is in blue is just more of the overview of how it works. And the green that you'll see here is more about how much the service costs and really what you're getting. We do have some alternative options. So, if you need more than the credits that we have here as maximum, you can just call into our sales team. That's left into this article here. But yeah, so you can always inquire more about that, but these are the 3 tiers that we have currently. And to be able to really sign up, you'll just go to land import and choose the option. So get data from our outside data service. And then once you do, you'll just pop up with the menu. You'll have the choice to go ahead and select the tier. And then you'll be able to really just start importing right away. So there was another part to his question as well. Let's see. So it was, and again, this was Daryl's question. He was saying, is the data in my system like mine, or is it tied to any other program or some other entity, he says. So you just want to be clear about this. When you're going ahead and importing from our outside data service integration, so I'll just do a live example here. We'll just go ahead and generate a new land list. And just keep in mind, everything that you're seeing on my screen now is because the membership is active. So it's active within my account. So go ahead here, we'll choose a state. Let's choose Florida. We can go to Bradford County. And I'm not going to get into too much details right now as far as, filters. Unless if there's some questions on that, then we can walk through it. So it doesn't look like there's a lot of records here, but primarily the point is that, we can see it, that there's there's an estimated 184 land records that meet this criteria. Just keep in mind, what I talk about on the Monday calls a lot are these tips. So throughout the Investment Dominator, you'll have a question mark in between 2 brackets. If you just hover over those, it'll show you tips all laid out throughout the Investment Dominator here. But you're going to see just, everything that you can import. Again, telling you how many record credits you have remaining for the month. One more time here. And then you can just choose how much you want to import. So if I want to just do 10, I can just do that. And then you can tag these records if you want to come back to them. So let's say Thursday class. We'll just do that. And then status, I just leave it as recommended since I'm primarily working with prospects. So again, more information all within the user guides here on really how to use it. But as far as importing these records, so I've imported 10 records here that I can see. And all these records are now in my system, and they're ready for me to use. And this is considered, since it's in your investment dominator, these are your records that you're going ahead and working with here. So, for example, all the data that's coming from our outside data service is coming from a data tree, and then that data is coming from the county. So you just want to keep that in mind as far as, like who owns the data. That would be the county directly. All right, so hopefully that answers, Daryl's question. But we can go ahead and dive into some topics today that we would have questions for. And it looks like we have a question here from Angela. Angela wants to know, can I do skip tracing for return to sender letters in the Investment Dominator? So we can go ahead here into the user guide real quick. Let's see. Okay, so we could go to the user guide and we can go ahead and type in skip tracing, or skip trace actually. And you're going to see a couple articles here as far as, what you can kind of work on and how you can do that. Since I just want to generalize the question a little bit, just to make it applicable for everybody. And so let's see. So as far as skip tracing goes, you'll want to refer to this document here to just be able to understand, what's kind of going on and what's being done. So we'll see here, just skip tracing is done when the letter that you have sent to a property owner gets returned to you by the post office because the owner no longer lives at that address the county had on file. So for those of you that are kind of going through this, or for any more questions really about this, please make sure you just refer to the user guide, kind of like I'm doing like a keyword search, so that you can be able to see. For those of you interested in also skip tracing services, you can use the listed websites here. And we have a kind of a detailed process as far as being able to just change the status so that you can skip trace some records. All right, so as far as Angela's question here about skip tracing for return to sender letters, I would say that you can skip trace if you want, but primarily return to senders one. I don't know. I feel as far as skip tracing goes here, if there is some sort of error as far as the data that you have regarding that property, that's kind of what this would be used for. So I would go ahead and, attempt to go ahead and do it. Just know that you can use these three services here that are, well, these are our recommendations here that you can go ahead and use. I'm sure there's other services out there as well too. All right, so let's see here. We have another question from Brandon, and let's see. So Brandon's saying, I'm using the Investment Dominator to send letters to prospects. I had thought I had seen that we could have a font on the envelope in handwritten font, but I'm not seeing that option. Is that available? So a font on the envelope. All right, so let's go ahead and just take a look real quick. So you can go to Customize within your Investment Dominator, and you can go to Document Template Settings. Now, once you click on this, you're just going to see that you can change your envelope font here. So again, this is under Customize, Document Template Settings, and you'll see default envelope font. And there is a helpful tip here listed as well. You'll see if you are using the doc version of the envelope, you may need to download these fonts and install them onto your computer. So that's something for you to keep in mind as well too, if you wanted, let's say, extra versions or different fonts, you can go ahead and follow through with that. We do have some ones that you can choose here. I don't believe any of these are handwritten. So there's a couple things here that you can do. You can try to go ahead and just hover over this and try the download fonts. You'll see here that you would primarily be needing to use a Word doc format. So something for you to keep in mind so you can work on that. All right. Hopefully that helps. It looks like there's a couple more questions here from Brandon. Let's see here. So this one is more about data tree. This is our outside data service integration. Now, he's asking if every county is capable to integrate with this integration. He knows small counties, they may not be able to provide the data electronically. So the data is reported by the county to data tree and then sent through us through the outside data service integration. But if you're wondering just more along the lines of what counties are available, I can just show you here. If we go to import again, and we're looking at the get data from our outside data service. If I generate a new land list. So, I'm not going to go through all of these just to be able to kind of show you, but I would think, if there's a particular county within it, we really have all of them listed here. So again, this is pulling data directly from the county. So you should be able to get really every county, no matter the population. Now, as far as, there being potential records that you can pull is another story, depending on the specific area that you're looking at. But as far as options, there are a lot of options here. All right, so hopefully that helps you out. Some things I just want to go ahead and talk about too for some of our more advanced users today. You're going to go ahead and see that we've been really talking about Zapier. So I'll just type in Zapier into the user guide just to show you some new articles and some things that are going on. So for example, we're working on really centralizing a article specifically to really be all about Zapier and how you would connect it and use it to the Investment Dominator. For those of you that haven't even heard of Zapier before, it's basically a low-code tool, as they call it, where you can set up automations for other existing apps out there with the Investment Dominator. So you'll see here, questions like what is Zapier and is the Investment Dominator compatible and what are the apps. So I'll just show you here as far as, some of the apps that we have. Oh, whoops, I need to open that in a new tab. All right. Maybe they updated their services. So let's just type in Investment Dominator here. And we'll search. All right. So basically, Zapier, again, a tool where you can use and start to integrate other existing services. If you didn't really know where to start, or if you're just more interested in, which apps you can connect it with that you're already using, you can go ahead and search for it. Some of the examples here are shown as far as what you can connect the Investment Dominator to. And we also just have on our user guide more along the lines of specific articles here that you could work on. So that's just kind of like a short introduction into it. There's a little bit more, but that really comes with learning all about Zapier and kind of browsing through and picking an app that you can begin to work with. Now within Zapier, there is, a free account that you can have, but there also is some additional services that you can choose to have too. So for example, if you're working on a Zap and you've kind of you have the Zap set up, but you need to go ahead and make the data a little bit more specific to the Investment Dominator. In an example here that I'm working with, I'm basically taking data from a Google Sheet and putting it into the Investment Dominator. Now, I can do this normally. If I come here, basically you can add different filter options to your Zaps, and this will go ahead and specify some of the data that you're beginning to kind of work with and connect. So I can take data that I'm getting from my Google Sheet, and I can actually add a filter to it to make it sorted out better. So I'll just show you an example here. normally what you can do is you can set up with the free account one trigger and one action. So you'll be able to get some of your services just automated, and you can really start working with your team if you have one, and starting to make your deal flow process a little bit easier. So some things that we're beginning to really add, besides just more support for favorite asked questions here, is describing how you can go ahead and change and format that data. So this is going to be in the coming weeks, I would say, next week to the week after. But we're going to go ahead and just get more into and involved with how we can make this data exact for the Investment Dominator. So there are some filter options here that you can go ahead and choose. You'll see, I'll be able to choose the action, and then I can set up tests. And if you're familiar with the Investment Dominator, the search by feature, you'll just see that the conditions are set up exactly like this. So for example, if you wanted to go ahead and um, create a zap that will go ahead and update based on a new user being entered into the Investment Dominator from Zapier. But again, when you think about your automations, you have to think about every single record that's going to be imported. So essentially, when you're creating your Zap, you're doing your work. So you're doing the manual work and setting that up one time, and then that automation will continue to keep happening. So let's say if you wanted to create an automation where once you update a record status to, let's say, complete and ready to sell, then you can go ahead and create a post or go ahead and create a specific marketing campaign. Basically, you can set up the Zap and it'll do exactly that. But when we talk about some of the premium features, you can actually choose to be able to make sure that this doesn't get duplicated again. So especially if you're spending money to create a marketing campaign of that sort, you'll be able to choose, owner first name, make sure that it does not contain, and then the same thing. So in this case, we would probably want to go by IDs instead. So we can say once this action happens, if this ID does not contain this, or actually does contain that, then like stop the zap essentially. So this is something that can be done with really just starting to browse and starting to explore some of these advanced features within Zap. And we really wanted to start the conversation with first being able to, show you into the world of automation so that we can really start to show you the benefits of using it to improve your business so that you can go ahead and, really sit back at certain times when you don't have to do as much manual work because now you have Zapier integrated with your business. So format is also another option. We're going to have some articles as far as taking data from Ring Central and being able to format it correctly. So for example, if you have a phone number in Investment Dominator and it's entered not in the specific format for Ring Central, this is something where you can use this format tool to be able to actually change that so it can work. Delay, I don't really use delay too much, but delay could be useful depending on the situation. Here, you'll just see that you can pause actions for a certain amount of time. So depending on, let's say, if you're sending a text or, a text campaign, anything of that sort, or maybe a post, you might be able to find some use to this. So yeah, these are some of the options that you can go ahead and begin to work with. Again, if you're new, definitely just recommend that you go ahead and at least create an account here so that you'll be able to then start to explore the Investment Dominator. And within our user guide here, for example, we can choose, let's choose this one here. So this is Investment Dominator to Slide Broadcast. With this one in specific, you can see that we have this screen, which is step-by-step guide just on how you would set up the Zaps. Basically, you're just going to choose your connecting app and what you're going to connect it to, and then you're going to choose the actions that happen with those apps. So again, just another quick example, we can do Investment Dominator to Ring Central. And then we can choose what happens. So we can say new record when, let's say, so actually this is something good to bring up. So as far as, what's going on here, you can see that when you want a new record, you can choose the action and it can either create a ring out, send a fax, send a SMS, create a video meeting. Now, if this isn't really how you expected your Zap to go ahead and be, one thing that you want to go ahead and do is just try switching your connected app with this one. So for example, if we just switch this and we say, now we want to connect Ring Central to Investment Dominator, you'll see that we have different options here that are available. So it really takes some time to be able to understand, how you want your Zap to work. But again, most of the work is right in the beginning, that first manual task that you're working on. And then after that, your automation will continue to run for as long as you would want. So for example, we can choose here, once a call ends in Ring Central, then we can go ahead and post contact or post property. In this case, we'd probably want to post the contact. So then we'll just get a button here to try it. So it's really quite intuitive and really friendly for you to go ahead and use. Definitely recommend you go ahead and start using it. And if there's any questions, particularly about going ahead and working through with this, this will be best if you can just put that in the chat. All right, so we'll come back to the Investment Dominator here. The next thing that I would like to kind of talk about is how to go ahead and just identify your records and really begin to organize the records that you're importing into your system. You want to be best aware of the best practices, I would say, for the Investment Dominator. And one of the best practices, or I'll basically show you a couple best practices here. So first one, let's do, before we get into tags, another way to kind of work through with your records, as you're going to see on my screen here, I have these records highlighted. Now, no matter the status, no matter the tag, I would say, or anything with these records, they will always show up in my all-in process and they'll just be highlighted just like this. Now, this is helpful when you are starting to hone in on a property. Let's say you're starting to build up into that open escrow status and you want to go ahead and keep track of this record, but let's say if you're switching statuses or if you're beginning to do a lot of work and you import a lot more records, one thing that you can do is highlight. So for example, you'll see I have some here. I can just click on these and click on to highlight just here next to generate documents. Now, again, you have the option to highlight. In this case, I'm going to select unhighlight and just show you. So once I unhighlight, those records that I had will probably go to the associated status that was involved with them. So I'll need to go ahead and find them as such. So tagging is a good way to really just identify some of the records that you're, sorry, not tagging, highlighting. And we'll see here, I can just highlight a record just like that, and it'll now be red at the top. Yep, just like that. All right, so that's one way you can go ahead and do it. You'll see here I have tagging also. I have tags active. Now, if that's something that you don't see on your Investment Dominator, just make sure you go to our user guide and type in custom view, just like that. And once you do, you'll come across this article here. It's going to primarily ask you, or not, it's not going to ask you, but it's going to show you how you can go ahead and enable this feature. So for example, you'll just click onto the view button, and then you'll be able to select all of the custom columns that you would want. So if we go back to our Investment Dominator here, we'll go to view, which is here. We might just need to make this a little bit smaller. There we go. So when you click onto view and you're in your custom columns, you're going to see all the different columns that you can add to your normal dashboard view within the land section. So for example, you have ones already selected. That would be ID, state, APN, market value, status, county, for example. If you didn't want these, you do have the option to actually remove these. So you can just uncheck them. But if you wanted to go ahead and add more, you just find the appropriate tag or custom column you would want. And for example, you would select tags here. Some other helpful ones, let's see, we have as far as type would be important, address. Again, you don't need to have these, but just highlighting some of them here. Zip, we have company, offer amount, things of that sort. Owner's ID, something that you could also have too. And just keep in mind that, you know, if you add too much and your custom view is starting to look a little cramped, you can just hit this button here to reset to default. So you don't have to fear of, you know, not being able to get your custom columns back to the way that they were originally. So you'll see if I click on that, it'll go ahead and just remove that tag column that I was talking about. So again, just to enable it, come over here and you select tags. All right, now again, to be able to organize your records in a really efficient way, no matter the status or condition, what you can do is select the record, and I'm going to find a fresh record here without any tags. So let's say this one. This is Kevin Smith. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can identify this specific property here. So I'll click onto tag. And again, if that was too fast, you just select the record, come over here to the left of remove tag and to the right of the new offer request. Just click on that. You'll be able to enter a name for a tag. So again, let's say just Thursday class, the one that I created before. You can do that. Again, you can create another tag here. So I'll just create one. And if I go ahead and confirm, now both of these tags have been added to the record. I can go ahead and search for that specific tag. So for example, since I did not highlight it, when I'm looking at my dashboard now after I just created that tag, I'm not sure where it went. So what we can do now, and what we have the option to do for the future as well, is you want to go ahead here to search by and click onto tag. Then you are going to just scroll. You want to find the tag that you're previously working with. I created two, Thursday class and high. If I used either one of these, I'll be able to find my record here. If I use Thursday class though, I should find also the other records that I had imported as well. So let's just go with the high tag for now. All right, and once I do, I'll find this record here. So again, if I click the record, I can actually go ahead and remove a tag. So I can remove my high tag. Now to do that, you'll see here that there is a X mark symbol, which you can see it turns into a pointer. When you hover over it, just click that and select confirm tag and then close. So now, because we search for that record with that specific tag, we're not going to see any more records here. Currently, no records meet this criteria. But since we added two tags to our record, we can actually search for the other one. So that would be tag, and we're going to search for the Thursday class one. Now remember, since we used the Thursday class before on our import with the outside data service, we're also going to get those records too. So I believe I imported 10 last time, so we should have about 11. Yep, 11 records here. And right at the top, we have that record, Kevin Smith. All right, so that's just to show you really the power of tagging and why it can be useful. One thing you also want to keep in mind is when you start to go ahead and import, let's say like thousands of records into your system, it'll get really hard to contain and be able to follow through with all those records, unless if you go ahead and make sure you set up that organization work again. So that would be just creating the tags, no matter what status those records are in, they'll always be under that tag. So it's really just a great way to stay organized and stay focused on the correct records. All right, so let's see here. One thing I would also like to go ahead and talk about is, let's see, our custom themes within the Investment Dominator. So for those of you who have your domains set up already, you have your buying and your selling site, you can actually go ahead to your Investment Dominator, go to, let's say, either your website settings. You could do buying or selling site. I'll do buying site just for right now. Now, there are some default themes which are available, so that would be the Legacy and the 2.0 theme. The Legacy is when we first started up with the Investment Dominator and really, having access to these websites. And then the second one, as you see here, is 2.0. This was more recently. We went ahead and updated our Legacy, but both of these have been proven and tested to go ahead and guarantee results. So as far as kind of other additional themes that we can talk about here, you'll see that I have ones like Blue Ocean. This one's called Land Gen. Then we have Red Black, and then Teal Profits. So if you're interested in just kind of changing up your site, I'll just show you, for example, this is our 2.0 theme. And I'll go to websites and buying. All right, so 2.0 theme here. This is my own banner, this is my own logo at the top, and then the color scheme as well. So that's not part of it. And then let's see here, we'll go ahead and choose Legacy just to show you. Here's that. And then let's go into some of the new options that we can go ahead and use. So to be able to see some of the custom themes that we can go ahead and add, we're going to have to refer to our user guide here. And what we're going to search up is we can do custom theme as a keyword. Now, once we do custom theme, you'll see that we have two articles that pop up here. First one is create your own custom opt-in page and selling site theme. Second one is create your own custom buying site theme. Now, if you click onto this article for creating your own custom buying site theme, there's something that would be helpful to you. So for example, even though you have to buy 2 domains for your Investment Dominator to have your buying and selling site, you can actually have some customization added directly to the Investment Dominator. So what I mean by that is these themes are really made from developers creating code using what's called HTML, and CSS. And what you can do is actually go to Fiverr and get a developer there to go ahead and work on this. This is called a front-end developer. They go ahead and just basically analyze, what's needed, what's required to be able to actually create a theme, which we have listed over here. So you'll see, if you do have experience with something like this, we give you the tools that you need to go ahead and set this up yourself. But if you don't, we have the tools listed here so that you can go ahead and send it to a potential developer for them to work on that. So what I'm going to do is show you an example here. I'm going to delete this Land Gen theme that I have. I'm going to re-upload it. All right, let me update. All right, so here we have some options that you can go ahead and choose from. You'll see that there is a download button here that you can click. So it's basically going to say download one of the sample themes that you want to go ahead and use for your Investment Dominator. So again, this was the teal one. This was blue, black and blue. This was red and black. And then this one here was Land Gen. So you can just go ahead and click on the download button and you're going to see I'm using the Chrome browser, so it pops up at the bottom left here. If I go back into my Investment Dominator here, and I just click on this button. So this is where you would go ahead and upload a custom theme. Now if I click on that, it's going to pop up on a window, and I'm on Windows. So I can actually go to my downloads here and just select the theme. So all I did was download it, and then basically just click on it here. You'll see that it's zipped, and that's something that we'll talk about in just a bit. But just click on it, click on open, and you're just going to get a short message that your theme was uploaded correctly. Click on OK. And then we now have the option for land gen here. So you can click on that, update your site, and you'll be good to go. Something for you to keep in mind too, it may be subtle, but you'll notice that when you select a theme, and that's the theme that you're going to stay with, it will have a blue aura that emits from it. So hopefully you're seeing that there. This makes sure that you know which theme that you currently have selected. So you can select that. And again, update, I already did that. So now I can go to my websites, buying site. And now this is the new updated theme that I have. You'll see here, everything is listed out as such. So a little, prompt here up in the beginning, who are we? More infographics about how to add this process down. And then you'll see here, this will go ahead and fill out, or you're basically filling out that new offer request form there when a user goes to this site. There's also a video here telling you more along the lines of how to use your reference number and add that from the letter to this form here. So definitely recommend you go ahead and check that out. You might want to even consider adding it, something that you'll have active. But also, we did mention that we're going to talk about some of the code. So I just want to take a little bit of time. I don't want to, get too technical here, but I would like to show you just some things that could be done. So for example, you'll see here that when you go ahead to, again, we're in our website settings buying. If I want to change some of the text that I have from my websites, for example, my buying site homepage text, normally you could do that, but since you are using a custom theme, this is actually not going to be an option. So for example, if I want all this text here to be removed and just replaced with, hello world, if I go down here to update site, even if I do that and I come back to my theme, or I come back to my website here and I refresh, it's not going to change. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Now, since this was a theme that we actually uploaded, again, this is something a developer would do, but we do have the option to go ahead and just work with this. So for example, if I go to my downloads and I'm here working on this, what I can do is take this, let's say move it to desktop. All right, so I have my land gen theme here. What I'm going to do is create a new folder. I'm just going to call it working on theme. And I'm going to take land gen and I'm just going to move it into there. All right, so when you're working with a theme, you're just going to notice that this is a compressed file. So it basically means that you can't treat it as if it's a normal file. You have to decompress it. So what you can do is you can just either open it up and take these files and extract them. So for example, what we can do here, take this, extract all. It's going to tell us that it's going to be extracted. All right. So what's going on is that we have two themes here. This is the same exact theme, except this one is compressed and this one is not. You don't have to worry about too much as to what that means, But for right now, just understand that these, the uncompressed ones, are the ones that we can work with. So if you wanted to, edit the text, you would essentially go ahead here and start working on this. So you would have a text editor, and I think I can choose one here. Let's see if I have one available. I guess I can use Notepad, maybe. So this is not a normal code editor, but essentially you're going to see here, the code that was used to go ahead and write this theme. Now, for example, for those of you that are non-technical, if you can get to at least like this part here to be able to kind of edit this text, you'll see things like a H1 here. It'll say, get a cash offer now. This is what you would want to look for. So you would just want to look for example, this is the get a cash offer now. Now you can edit that file directly, and I might need to pull that up again here. So you can pull that file up directly here. You'll see, get a cash offer now. For example, let's say you wanted to change that text. You would just be able to, do something like this. Then you can save the file, compress it, and do it again. So for example, I can try this here. So I'll just save this file, get a cash offer now, a lot of exclamation points. So I edited this custom theme, and now I want to go ahead and kind of import that. So what I can do, I'm going to delete this previous zip version. You basically have to take this file here that you're working with, the one that you went ahead and extracted. So now this is the folder that we edited. We're going to go ahead and compress that. Now we're going to call this LandGen update. This is the file that we now need to import into the Investment Dominator. So in order to do that, I'll head back into my Investment Dominator. I will select upload custom theme. I'm going to do, I believe it was desktop, and working on theme. Select this one here, LandGen update, and open. So there's more involved in kind of editing these documents, but if you go ahead and go to a developer or wait for us to go ahead and start updating some of these themes, these are potentially something that you can begin to go ahead and work with. So just keep that in mind. You do have those possibilities to go ahead and start creating your own custom themes or beginning to start to work with that. All right, so last thing that we'll talk about here today is custom documents. So if we come over here, again, we're going to refer to our user guide. You're going to want to type in, let's say, you can try custom document. This can be something where you're just basically creating a custom document or custom neutral letter. A lot of times people like to go ahead and create a custom offer for you to work through with. If you are working through with that, there is an option here, how to customize Jack's offer templates. Definitely recommend you check this out. And for those of you that are just kind of interested purely in learning about custom documents, you can actually go to the help section here. Go to dashboard. What you'll be able to do is go to right here, view quick start guide. And when you click that, you're going to see this article here. For those of you that missed the Monday call, definitely recommend you go ahead and review this article, how to go ahead and get started. But if you scroll down past the congratulations screen here, what you're going to notice is that there are more specific articles on how to generate custom documents, begin to work with that. You'll see here, generating an offer package. We have this article here, how to customize Jack's offer templates. More along the lines of creating that offer campaign and starting to work with that, or creating a second offer cover letter. Lots of articles to go ahead and view, but this is your first time. I recommend you looking up the neutral letter one. But just to kind of break down how you would go ahead and start to use this, you just want to follow this guide step by step and basically go to Customize, Custom Documents, add the document. You're going to see we list out every single feature that you need to go ahead and have selected so that you can begin to work through with the document. But specifically, I'll just show you here. If I am in my Customize, Custom Documents, and I want to create a document real quick, I just select the two, the land only. I'll choose both. You can put the title there, but really when we're getting to the document content, you don't have to feel like you're alone in creating a new document from scratch. You don't want to go ahead and reinvent the wheel. What you can go ahead and do is look for the specific item here, document content. It's going to give you a link where you can actually create the document from a text file that we've created. So for example, you can go ahead here, click that link. What you're going to do is just do Control-A if you're on Windows, and then Control-C. You'll come back to your Investment Dominator, which was here. And basically, you're going to want to click onto this button here. It's called Source. And we also mentioned this as well. So copy and paste this content under the Source tab. Come over here again, hit Source. You'll know you're in the correct menu when all these other items are grayed out. You'll go ahead here and Control-V, and you'll paste your document. Now, if I click on Source again, I'll see that my document went ahead and is generated right here. So from this point is really when you can start to begin to add, let's say if you wanted to add styling, or if you wanted to add more specific items. For example, if you wanted to add names or different types of items from the Investment Dominator, you would click on this Insert Merge field. Make sure you click onto where you want it in your document, select the merge field that you would want. You have a ton of choices here that you can go ahead and use. So let's say all owners, for instance, is something that you can have. So now the document is updated, and at any time you can go ahead and preview this by clicking onto Document Preview. I'll just show you real quick a snapshot as far as how your letter will look right now. All right, so hopefully that does help you and begin to explore custom documents. And again, you'll see that within the article that we have listed here. This was on the quick start guide within the help section to be able to see, sending out your first mailing, offer package, and more on different specifics and different custom documents. All right, so hopefully that does help you when you're beginning to, just browse custom documents and start to explore. Let's go back to the Investment Dominator real quick here. For those of you that want to go ahead and sign up for our Monday call where we talk more about setup with the Investment Dominator and how to get that started, just make sure that you come over here to weekly live Q&A training calls and you click here to register for our Monday session. And again, thanks for registering for our Thursday session. If you want to go ahead and review any replays of previous calls that we have done, just click this button here to review the latest replays. They'll be posted onto the user guide. And as always, if you have any more questions after the stream about anything that we talked about, or just future questions that you may have regarding the Investment Dominator, just make sure that you are filling out a support ticket here with as much detail as you can as far as how we can help you. But all right, so we're going to go ahead and end this call. I'm going to end on a quote. The quote that we have here is from Edward Everett Hale. The quote goes, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success." No matter where you are coming from, what your background is, we're starting with a goal, and that goal is being able to really be successful through this process. You're committing to it, and with us, we're building this team, and we really have a good relationship as far as you being able to come to us with any questions so that we can go ahead and help you try to progress so that you can hit your goals. Again, keep in mind, you want to go ahead and set up milestones that you can go ahead and make hitting your big goals seem more achievable. It really does help in putting a good perspective on you. And it'll help in terms of points where you need to go ahead and begin to work on, or where you need to ask some questions. So don't hesitate to reach out. And again, thank you all for taking some time to join with us today. Have a great rest of your day.